Welcome to Marketplace Finds, where we show off some crazy and interesting cars for sale, judge what we think of the price, then order it in our tier list.
It's just one of those days!
This 2005 Mitsubishi Lancer started life as a boring econo sedan, but someone got sick of not having a truck and decided to make their own one in the most cursed way possible. From the front, it still looks like your average beater Lancer with misaligned panels, headlights with cataracts, and a fake hood scoop to match. But then you walk around back and realize somebody got blackout drunk with a sawzall and a welder. It's got 6 wheels, a chopped bed, and enough rust to qualify as a tetanus delivery service. You can literally see the Frankenstein work is actively trying to detach itself from this nightmare. And the funniest part is that it's still only front wheel drive. Inside, it's bone stock, just a dusty grey interior, but at least you get a fluffy steering wheel cover. The seller is after $1,500 and has apparently received over 300 messages about it. He's also the very first recipient of the prestigious Golden Clown Award. Congratulations, sir, he still hasn't sold it. I think we know why. Of all the weird builds we have come across, this is definitely a new one. It's a 2000 Toyota Celica that seems to have had a full body makeover supplied only by a hardware store. It's covered in metal armor plating, chains, saw blades, and enough rivets to make a shipbuilder proud. What this Celica misses in horsepower, it makes up in firepower, as we've got a camshaft cannon up front and another random pipe cannon over top. Considering the car's done a huge 300,000 miles, you'd almost think this rust was actually what's left of the car, but at least with all the extra metal added on, you're guaranteed to get some more money from the local scrapyard in the near future. The seller was after $2,500, and for all you scrap metal yard workers, it's unfortunately already sold. What you're looking at is a 1996 Nissan President, the car that was supposed to chauffeur diplomats and executives with understated luxury, but instead, this one has had so many modifications, it looks like Rolls-Royce had an illegitimate child with a Donk. Let's start with the exterior, because obviously, it did not come like this from the factory. It has a custom black pearl body kit that turns the front bumper into something that looks like it was designed to vacuum up pedestrians. Down the sides, the kit adds the world's biggest and widest side skirts that I've ever seen, and they sit so low you'll probably start a brush fire if you drive over a piece of grass. There are 20-inch rims that tuck up under the rolled fenders thanks to the air ride suspension. Now if you thought the exterior is weird and crazy, check out this interior. According to the owner, what you're looking at is over $15,000 worth of interior modifications done by L-Tide, and I'd believe it, because gone are the old grey cloth or leather seats, replaced by what looks like a Louis Vuitton bag that's been cut up and glued to every surface. And then the pièce de résistance, the ceiling has a hand-painted mural of Mount Fuji, because when you're lying in the back, sipping sake, you want to be spiritually transported straight to Japan's most sacred mountain. After putting a $10,000 body kit on it and over $15,000 in interior modifications, surprisingly the owner is only after $15,000, which honestly seems a little high, but won't be surprised at all if it sells.
Brother,
What you're looking at is a 1997 Chrysler Concorde that the odd seller calls Sharky, which makes sense because this thing has a set of Home Depot fangs glued to the front that make it look like it's about to bite the mailman. The headlights also have demonic eyebrows stuck on top, so it looks like the Concorde is mad you showed up late with this McDonald's order, and the extreme paint peel weirdly adds to it. Inside, things don't really improve. The leather seats are cracked and worn like they've seen one too many truck stop buffet visits, and the seller points out the high mileage, but at least it's at an apparent lucky number. They even show off the trunk space with a live action teaser for CSY Chrysler Edition. For the $2,000 asking price, what more can you expect? This has to be one of the best series of photos we've gotten from a seller. Next up is this 1997 Suzuki X90, which is one of the weirdest little experiments Suzuki ever spat out of the factory. Back in the 90s, Suzuki must have looked at their lineup and said, what if we took a Geo Tracker, gave it a bubble roof, made it only 2 seats, and then marketed it as both a sporty coupe and a 4x4, and against all odds, they actually built it. The result was this tiny 2-door oddball SUV that looked like a toy car. Most people back then didn't really get it. The sales were low, and the X90 vanished from the US after just a couple years, but now they're rare, quirky, and absolutely collectible if you're into weird 90s niche cars. This one's not just stock either, it's lifted, running on brand new BFG all-terrains. Even the interior got some love with these bright red velour seats and door cards, but unfortunately the interior shots reveal this one's an automatic for the manual purists out there. $9,000 is what the seller's asking for this lifted little UFO, and honestly, that's not that crazy for such a cool car. This 2015 Ford Transit has been taken way past the cargo van life it was born into and shoved straight into being a rolling block party. The seller calls it fully custom, and they aren't kidding. You've got 20-inch rims, a fresh front end swap, and enough speakers in the back to drown out God's voice. Opening the rear doors, and it looks less like a van and more like a nightclub wall collapsed onto the asphalt. There are dozens of mids, tweeters, and subs stacked like a giant Jenga tower of bass, ready to rattle your bones. From the interior, I thought maybe it's a party bus, but because of the giant speaker setup, they managed to only fit 5 diamond stitched leather seats in there, so as long as the party counts as 5, 25, I'm sure you'll have a great deafening time either way. The seller is asking for a massive $45,000 for this knockoff Sprinter van, and to my absolute surprise, it already sold. Listen, I'm a fan of sports, I get it, but never once have I had the thought of doing something like this. It's a 2006 Chevrolet Corvette that's been absolutely dunked in Packers and the legend Vince Lombardi fandom. He's painted front and center, and although a little Homer Simpson looking, it's the Mona Lisa compared to the Packers player. Super Bowl trophies are painted down the sides just to rub it in your granddad's face, who probably watched it live. Even the stadium gets some love being painted on the convertible top cover. This moving sermon for Packers Nation, a 400 horsepower middle finger to anyone wearing blue and orange, is listed up for $25,000, which is asking for a bit too much. Now this is peak America. Forget your Ford F-150s, your Bald Eagles, and your Bud Light commercials during the Super Bowl. This 1991 Opel Calibra is the most American car you will ever see in your life, and ironically, it didn't even start here. It was born in Germany, imported to the US, and then wrapped so hard in patriotism that George Washington himself probably shed a single tear when it rolled out the shop. Sorry for interrupting the video, but I'd just like to ask a huge favor for everyone to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. 85% of you aren't subscribed, so if you watch our videos regularly, please hit that subscribe button. We've got a bunch of crazy cars coming up, so enjoy the rest of the video. Let's start with the hood, where Lady Liberty herself is rising out of an eagle that looks like it's about to dive bomb a Prius for not standing during the national anthem. Slide around to the side and you've got Navy sailors, Mount Rushmore, the Iwo Jima flag raising, and so much more. Basically, if you ever failed a 5th grade history test, this car has the Cliff Notes printed on it. The other side features the Statue of Liberty, a jet, the Navy, and Abraham Lincoln. I have to say the art is very well done. Quite literally, the cherry on top is the Constitution sprawled out on top of the roof. But that's not even the best bit, because on the inside we've got Donald Trump riding a Velociraptor, shooting a gun, all while the American flag waves behind him. The back bumper is where this Opel really lets you know it bleeds red, white, and blue, and maybe a little bit of Tennessee whiskey. Across the bottom, it proudly declares, "Proud to be an American," in star-spangled letters. But above that is a lineup of America's greats is airbrushed across the bumper: John Wayne, Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, Ronald Reagan, and Jack Daniels. Literally the bottle of whiskey itself, front and center, immortalized as an American hero. Not to mention a mural of the 9/11 attack with a "Never Forget" written above it. The price tag is pretty wild, sitting at $20,000, but you are buying the single greatest expression of unfiltered, unapologetic America ever put on 4 wheels. This 85 Impala is proof that when God closes a door, somebody replaces it with Lamborghini hinges, Lamborghini doors up front, and suicide doors out back. Because why settle for one bad idea when you can stack 2 together like Jenga blocks? And those 26-inch chrome floaters, they're so big, it looks like this Impala is trying to cosplay as a wagon wheel display at Cracker Barrel. The ad even brags it can fit 30s, which means this car is 1 tire rotation away from becoming a literal carnival ride. Pop the trunk and you'll find 2 15-inch subs and a 3000 watt amp. That's not an audio system, that's a sonic weapon. You don't listen to music in this thing, you survive it. Unfortunately, we get no other interior photos, and that's probably because the seller says it needs a lot of work, alongside having a sunroof leak. But who cares about water damage when you're flexing this hard? The seller wants $7,000 for it, which is rich considering you could buy a clean Impala for half that. If you've ever wanted to chop people at the drag races and pick up a couple of hay bales and a pig in the same day, well, do I have the car for you. It's a 2009 Dodge Charger RT that went through a Smith conversion, which cuts it down into what you see here. Usually truck conversions are a nightmare, but this one isn't your cousin's Sawzall special. This one's clean, straight, and looks like Dodge actually intended to sell it this way. The kit costs just over $5,000, and I'm sure the clean bodywork and paint job probably cost similar to get it to this point, but I don't think it justifies the huge $25,000 asking price, even if it's a cool build.
Give me a hell yeah!
It's time yet again for my personally most hated car, this one being a 2001 PT Cruiser that has some very questionable design choices. The hood has a giant flaming skull that's not only airbrushed on, but it's been molded on like somebody 3D printed their midlife crisis and glued it to the hood. Around back, you've got a cowboy skeleton in flames, because nothing screams street cred like turning your car into a Spirit Halloween prop on wheels. The whole thing looks like it was painted by a guy who got kicked out of tattoo school for tracing too many pages of Sons of Anarchy fan art. Inside, it's rocking ostrich seat covers, which is just a fancy way of saying Amazon upholstery kit, and there's even more flaming skulls on the floor mats. In the back, there's a couple of huge subs that hopefully rattle hard enough to drown out the sound of your regrets. The seller wants $3,000 for this thing, and I hate to say it, but that's a fair price. What you're looking at started life as a 1997 Geo Tracker, a dinky little SUV that was barely safe for mall parking lots, and somewhere along the line it seems somebody went full scrap heap challenge on it. The exterior looks like it was armoured by a welder who only had sheet metal, barn paint, and a hangover, so it quite possibly may have been stolen from the Russian army. The fenders have just been straight up deleted, giving it quite a tough look, especially paired with the chunky mud tires. The doors have been pulled off for extra weight reduction or airflow, but the seller is kind enough to include whatever's left of them in the sale. Joking aside, this build was done by a farmer, and I kind of rate it because ATVs can be dangerous and side-by-sides are expensive. They only wanted $2,600 for this, and it unfortunately has already been sold. This one's just a little bonus listing. We came across it started off totally normal, a clean, one-owner Toyota Camry, the kind of car your neighbor brags about because the only thing that's ever broken is the cup holder spring. But as you get further into the photos, suddenly the Camry wasn't just a car anymore. It was blasting out of a volcano on rainbow jet streams while dinosaurs looked on in terror. But wait, there's more too, hitting equal levels of craziness. Although Grandpa went a bit crazy with the AI, the $4,300 asking price is honestly pretty good. This is one creative way to get more clicks. Have you ever been trying to sleep and a car drives past at 3 AM so loud it rattles your windows? Well, here it is. This poor Scion TC managed to do 250,000 miles before this maniac got it and did this insane exhaust modification. Instead of leaving it where God and Toyota intended, this guy decided to punch 4 stovepipes straight through the hood like a DIY chimney system. They even provided this hilarious photo that makes it look like a mobile hibachi grill, ready for some shrimp to be thrown on the flames. The seller proudly says it runs great, but with that many miles, dents from deer, and an ignition that only works when it's in the mood, this thing has more red flags than a Soviet parade. With how loud this thing is, your neighbors are guaranteed to slash your tires. So keep that in mind with the honestly cheap $800 asking price. A good purchase if you live next door to your ex-wife. Forget camper shells and truck caps, this 1997 Lincoln Town Car is carrying a literal shrine on its back. It's half luxury sedan, half mobile dragon dojo, and 100% guaranteed to make everyone on the road wonder if they just got cursed. From the front, it's still got that classic town car face with its big chrome grille and square headlights, but looming in the background, sitting just over 11 feet high with a dragon on top, is a beautifully hand-carved masterpiece. Every inch of this thing is covered in hand-chiseled gold, dragons, phoenixes, koi fish, and probably a couple of pissed off ancestors too. There is such insane detail and depth to the carvings, it's simply just impressive. Even the inside of the shrine is beautiful, and although I'm not Japanese, I'd take my last ride in there. As an added bonus, it's sitting at only 15,000 miles. The seller's asking for $20,000, and honestly, I have no idea what these are worth, but I'm going to assume it's not a bad price. Here's how the final tier list ended up. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong, if there's anything you've changed around. Otherwise, thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.